From the Orthodox Study Bible, Daniel, chapter 4. Nebuchadnezzar, the king, to all peoples, tribes, and languages who live in all the earth, may peace be multiplied to you. I am pleased to report to you the signs and wonders the Most High God did with me. How great and mighty is his kingdom, an eternal kingdom. His authority is from generation to generation. I, Nebuchadnezzar, who was prospering and flourishing in my house, and I saw a dream that terrified me. Thus I was troubled on my bed, for the vision in my mind greatly disturbed me. Therefore I issued a decree to bring all the wise men of Babylon before me, to make the interpretation of the dream known to me. So the enchanters, the magicians, and the diviners of the Chaldeans came in, and I told them the dream. And they did not make known its interpretation to me until at last Daniel came in, whose name is Belshazzar according to the name of my God, and who has the spirit of the holy God in him. Then I told the dream before him, saying, Belshazzar, chief of the enchanters, I know that the spirit of the holy God is in you, and no mystery is impossible to you. Hear the vision of the dream I saw, and tell me its interpretation. I was on my bed, and I looked, and behold, in the midst of the earth there was a very tall tree. The tree was large and strong. Its height reached to the heavens, and its extent to the ends of all the earth. Its leaves were beautiful, and its fruit abundant, and in it there was food for all. The wild animals lived beneath it, and the birds of heaven dwelled in its branches. All flesh was fed from it. I saw in a vision of that night on my bed, and behold, a watcher, a holy one, came down from heaven. He cried with a loud voice and said thus, Chop down this tree and cut off its branches. Shake off its leaves and scatter its fruit. Let the wild animals be driven from beneath it, and the birds from its branches. Nevertheless, leave its stump and roots in the ground. And he shall lie down outdoors in the tender grass, wet with the dew of heaven, and bound with an iron and copper chain. His portion shall be with the wild animals, to graze on the vegetation of the earth. His heart shall be changed from that of a man, and that of a wild animal will be given to him. 7 years shall bring this change upon him. This saying is by the decree of the watchers, and this decision by the word of the holy ones, so the living might know that the Lord is the Most High over the kingdom of men, and will give it to whomever he will, and set over it even objects of contempt among men. This is the dream I, Nebuchadnezzar the king, have seen. Now you, Belshazzar, tell the interpretation, since all the wise men of my kingdom are unable to reveal its interpretation to me, but you, Daniel, are able, because the spirit of the holy God is in you. Then Daniel, whose name is Belshazzar, became mute about 1 hour, and his thoughts disturbed him greatly. After this, the king spoke and said, Belshazzar, do not let the dream and its interpretation trouble you. So Belshazzar said, My Lord, may the dream concern those who hate you, and its interpretation be for your enemies. The large and strong tree you saw, whose top reached to heaven, and its extent to all the earth, and its leaves were flourishing, and its fruit abundant, and in it there was food for all. and the wild animals lived beneath it, and the birds of heaven dwelt in its branches. This is you, O king, for you have become great and strong, and your greatness has extended and reached to heaven, and your dominion to the ends of the earth. Inasmuch as the king saw a watcher, a holy one, coming down from heaven, and saying, chop down the tree and destroy it, but leave its stump and roots in the ground, and he shall spend the night outdoors in the tender grass, wet with the dew of heaven, and bound with an iron and copper chain, and his portion shall be with the wild animals until 7 years bring a change upon him. This is the interpretation, O king, and this is the decree of the Most High, which has come upon my lord the king. They shall drive you from men, and your dwelling shall be with the wild animals. They shall make you eat grass like an ox, and you will spend the night there, wet with the dew of heaven. 7 years will bring this change upon you, until you know that the Most High rules over the kingdom of men, and will give it to whoever he will. Inasmuch as they said, leave the stump and the roots of the tree, your kingdom will remain for you after you come to know the heavenly authority. Therefore, O king, let my counsel be pleasing to you, to atone for your sins with alms and your wrongdoings with compassion on the poor. Perhaps God will be long-suffering regarding your trespasses. All these things came upon Nebuchadnezzar the king. After a period of 12 months, he was walking about the royal palace in Babylon. The king spoke, saying, is not this the great Babylon, which I built as a home for my kingdom, but my power for the honor of my glory? While the word was still in the king's mouth, a voice from heaven saying, King Nebuchadnezzar, your kingdom has passed from you, and they shall drive you from men. Your dwelling shall be with the wild animals, and they shall make you eat grass like an ox. 7 years shall bring this change upon you, until you know that the Most High rules over the kingdom of men, and will give it to whomever he will. That very hour the word was accomplished upon Nebuchadnezzar, for he was driven from men, ate grass like an ox, and his body was covered with the dew of heaven, until his hair was like that of lions, and his nails like birds' claws. At the end of the time, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifted my eyes to heaven, and my understanding returned to me. Then I blessed the Most High, and praised and glorified him who lives forever. For his authority is an eternal authority, and his kingdom is from generation to generation. All the inhabitants of the earth are counted as nothing, and he does according to his will with the army of heaven and with the habitation of earth. No one can resist his hand or say to him, what are you doing? At that time my understanding returned to me, and I came again into the honor of my kingdom. My appearance was also restored, and my rulers and nobles asked for me. I became strong again in my kingdom, and excellent majesty was added to me. Now therefore I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise, exalt beyond measure, and glorify the King of heaven, because all his works are true, his paths are just, and he is able to humble those who walk in arrogance.